The night is stormy and lightning crackles down onto a ship where our main character has just been shot in the shoulder by an arrow. He heaves and hacks up blood, out of breath and dying. He doesn't know what's happening. It's like the things you see in movies or dramas has become his new reality. Surrounded by enemies, he starts to sweat badly. Is he really going to die in a place like this? The enemies laugh at the sight of our MC trembling like a baby. They find it boring that he has finished fighting and has been defeated already. Yet our MC is still fixated on how this could have happened to him. Up until now, he was just an ordinary person who liked playing games. Now he's on this ship, getting shot with another arrow that knocks him down to the ground. He falls with a thud, and the enemies approach to deal the final blow, getting ready to slash at his neck with a sharp sword. In his final moments, he thinks about how all of this is because of that scammer named Trickster. While waiting for the blade to send him into the afterlife, he curses Trickster for what he did. We get a flashback to the day before. Our MC is brushing his teeth. After doing this, he steps into a dark room to finish his day like any other. Once finished with work, he always comes home to play games. He stretches and groans, a common occurrence after a long day at work. He gets ready to load up his favorite game of all time, titled Dark World. If you wanted to describe what the world looked like, it's a place without any hopes or dreams, a game filled with never-ending wars, a corrupt church, thieves, monsters, and the undead. The game has been out for 20 years, so doesn't have flashy graphics or anything like that. But our MC has enjoyed playing Dark World since it was launched. Sitting at his computer, he wonders what kind of opponent could be waiting for him online today. His first thought is to check how his character is doing. Tall, with dark red armor, this is his Blood Knight that he is extremely proud of. A level 95 character with the name Requesting PK. Despite playing for 20 years, our MC has only ever cleared the campaign with one character, his Blood Knight. If you're wondering why he has only cleared the campaign with one character, it's because he enjoys playing hardcore. More specifically, hardcore PvP. Hardcore is a game mode where you cannot be brought back to life if your character dies. In this mode, you lose your level and all your items upon death. In this game mode, there are very few people who enjoy player versus player battles, and even fewer who would dare to battle our MC's level 95 Blood Knight. No matter how good you are at player versus player, there's always the risk you will die fighting one day. Living on the edge like this is something our MC finds thrilling. On top of that, in terms of PvP, his Blood Knight is the strongest character in the game's history. Nicknamed the Blood Knight Master, it's hard to find an opponent who's even on the same level as him. Taking a sip of water, he prepares to see who his first victim will be. Much to his surprise, he has 2 new messages today. This is rare. Ever since his kill count went over 500, he stopped getting many requests for battles. He's only just logged on and today is already turning out great. After accepting the battle request, he waits eagerly to see his opponents. 3 people, all around level 80. At that level, all 3 of them will need to come at him at once to stand a chance. A female, a large red head, and a blonde-haired guy. They find our MC crazy for accepting a 3 versus 1 battle. They waste no time sending attacks forward, thinking they are about to get some easy items. Our MC gets started by raising his hand to block the girl's mage attack. Deep into the battle, they realize their mistake, with the girl referring to our MC as some kind of monster. Using his Blood Knight's skills, he has the blonde character by the throat, raising him high into the air with some sort of red energy. He approaches Blondie, gripping a hold of his neck tightly. The others have terrified expressions, wondering if their blonde friend's life is really going to end like this. The blonde guy attempts to get his words out while choking, trying to get his teammates to help him out. However, they just stand back like cowards as our MC lights Blondie up like the 4th of July. None of this makes any sense to them, just like that their friend's character has gone. With a sinister look, the Blood Knight asks them who's next. The 2 players nervously look at each other, with neither of them wanting to fight. They flee from the arena, making threatening remarks as they do, telling our MC to wait until they're a higher level and they will be back. Left all alone, our MC is more annoyed than anything. How rude of them to run away. They could have at least left behind a nice item before going. He remembers he actually got 2 requests to battle today, so he eagerly goes to his messages to accept the second one. A player by the name of Trickster29. Our MC knows this player, laughing at how this old man just never seems to give up. Trickster is the most famous Dark World player, but he always loses to our MC in battles. It's only been 10 days since he beat this guy last, and yet here he is trying again. Our MC commends Trickster's courage for never giving up. But surely all these losses must be hurting his image. Looking at Trickster, we can see that he has decided to play on a character that is a martial artist this time. Level 93. Upon seeing this, our MC appears confused, wondering how he could have leveled up that much already. Plus, he has the highest ranking armor set for a martial artist, known as the Will of the Eastern Mythological Soldiers. Our MC assumes Trickster must have paid for items and auto-farmed to get his level up. Though even if he did, reaching level 93 still seems impossible. Perhaps this is one of his secret hidden characters. Trickster didn't come here to ramble and wants to start the fight right away. Our MC's last thought is that maybe there is a campaign in the game that he doesn't know about, allowing Trickster to reach that level. Either way, he's going to win and take this guy's items anyway. The battle begins with a red boom, and within seconds Trickster is on the floor defeated. It's like the old man's control is getting worse by the day. Our MC becomes giddy looking at all the items he has just taken from Trickster. Before examining them, he thinks it would be best if he closed the battle room first. However, just before he can do this, a new player joins to fight him. He looks around annoyed, wondering who it could be. He sees the culprit, a blonde guy in a flowing cape. Back so soon, this is Trickster again. But this is his original character, a character that was created the day that Dark World launched 20 years ago. A level 100 character with the Elemental Mage class. What on earth could he be thinking? To risk losing a character like that in a hardcore battle is crazy. Our MC is sure he closed off the battle room in time, asking how Trickster managed to get in. Lit up with a blue aura, Trickster just tells our MC to come at him, using an original level 100 account to try and win. This is something our MC considers extremely cocky. But Trickster doesn't care, stating that our MC just needs one more kill for his kill count to become 10,000. Surely he wants a worthy opponent for his 10,000th kill. Though Trickster warns that he doesn't plan on losing and he is confident that he is going to take the win here. All this confidence seems to be coming out of nowhere. Trickster has never beat him ever before. Something seems off. Our MC wonders how this guy could know his kill count. It's a stat hidden in a character's play log, which can't be googled, nor can it be viewed by other players. Our MC accuses Trickster of using cheats, but Trickster dismisses these accusations, just wanting to get the fight started. He gets things started by sending a wave of blue energy hurling forwards, an awakened active skill known as Frozen Earth. Magic damage is spread out in all directions, decreasing the movement speed of those affected by 100%. The attack is flung at our MC, who is still thinking deeply about this situation. This old man isn't answering any of his questions, and started things right away with an awakened skill. Our MC finishes with his thoughts, getting back to the fight. Using his level 95 Blood Knight, he raises Trickster into the air. He assumes he must be out of mana now, and he's already used his only awakened skill. How did he ever expect to win this battle like that? Our MC starts to use a skill he has been saving just to use on Trickster, known as the Whirlpool of Bloodsucking. An awakened skill that absorbs a player's health. The health absorbed, the more damage that is done. Trickster's eye glows blue as he chokes and cries out in pain. Our MC just laughs. His health is only at 10% because of his past battles, so it's only fair he takes some of Trickster's. That's when out of nowhere Trickster begins to use a second awakened skill, burning our MC in flames. This skill is called Dragon Breath, the ultimate awakened skill of the flame type, which summons an ancient dragon to inflict flame type damage onto an opponent, leaving the victim with a burn effect. Our MC is thought you could only have one awakened skill per character. How is this even possible? His vision is blinded by flames, cooking him like a good steak until a system notification appears, informing him that his character has died. Our MC is furious, thinking his opponent used cheats because he couldn't win otherwise. He raises his keyboard in the air, about to smash it to pieces. Instead, he puts it back down, not letting things just end like this. He creates a brand new character, with the username, "You cheater piece of doo-doo." He immediately joins the battle room, calling Trickster a cheater and demanding to know where he lives. Trickster just tells him to calm down, giving our MC some of his lost items back. Though he doesn't return many of the good things, like his demon sword, his all-resistance shield, or his level 3 skill helmet. Our MC gets angry. How could this guy be using cheats at his old age? Trickster insists he wasn't cheating, and that he just completed a hidden quest. Our MC doesn't know what he is talking about. How can there be hidden things that he doesn't know about in a game that was released 20 years ago? He demands to know more, so that he can get 2 awakened skills too. He drops his gear on the floor in frustrations and grabs a hold of Trickster. If there really is a hidden quest, he should prove it by saying what it is. However, Trickster warns that it is a quest he might regret accepting, one that he might not be able to handle. Our MC continues yelling. The only thing he regrets is fighting a cheating scumbag and losing his high-level account. Trickster's character begins to vanish, stating that if our MC wants the quest so badly, he will receive an invitation before the day is over. Our MC doesn't understand, but when trying to message Trickster, the game states that such a player doesn't exist. He tries again, checking that he spelled the username right by looking over each letter individually. Yet it still says the player doesn't exist. He really has gone. Our MC holds his head and yells out in frustration. He worked so hard to grow that account and it will take him forever to get back to that level. He decides to just go to sleep. He can worry about it later. After going to sleep, he wakes up to a voice yelling at him, referring to him as uncle. He finds himself at an amusement park, with his niece complaining that she is hungry. He quickly remembers what's going on. Today is his day off, so he came here with his niece, whose name is G1. She's really hungry and wants her uncle to buy her some food from the nearby cellar. She just ate, yet she already wants more. Our MC jokingly calls her a pig, telling her to wait here while he goes to buy her some. All of a sudden, things start to feel hazy, almost like he is dreaming. He looks over to the bench where his niece was sitting, only to see that she has vanished. Instead, a familiar-looking blonde woman has appeared in her place, warning our MC to sit down if he doesn't want to get hurt. His world continues to spin as she repeats this to him again, this time more aggressively. Before he knows it, he's pushed to the ground on his cheeks. The blonde girl has transformed into a chubby sailor on a boat. It's raining badly and the entire boat crew seem to be in a hurry about something. The outfit our MC is wearing looks exactly like one he saw in game. He's sure he fell asleep in bed not long ago. Then he remembers that he was too frustrated over losing his account to sleep, so he stayed awake and grinded the game for a bit. He remembers clearing the first chapter and falling asleep after getting to the ship for chapter 2. He starts to piece things together. He's currently on that same ship in the storming ocean and he's wearing the type of outfit you would only see in games. He's inside the Dark World game, playing as the new character he created. It doesn't make sense. While attempting to wrap his head around things, one of the crew yells at him to stop getting in the way, before abruptly getting shot with an arrow, falling to the floor dead. Our MC looks overboard to where the arrow came from, only to see a bunch of pirates attempting to enter the ship, wanting to kill everyone. Not knowing what to do, our MC thinks his best option right now is to try and evade them. To his side is a bunch of stacked boxes which he attempts to hide behind. While hiding, he witnesses one of the pirates killing someone. Seeing it in person with his own eyes is much different to just seeing it in the game. It doesn't take him long to get spotted by a bald pirate, who wasn't expecting to find a rat hiding all the way back here. He attempts to fight back, though in the end it is no use. He is defeated and falls to the floor after being shot with many arrows. The pirates all laugh at how easy it was to take him down, approaching to deal the final blow. Our MC can't believe he is going to die like this. Until yesterday he was just a normal middle-aged guy who liked to play games. How did he end up here? This is all because of that trickster scumbag. He closes his eyes and attempts to hide his face, only for a few seconds to pass with him still not dying yet. Opening his eyes, he sees a bright blue light in the sky that disintegrates the pirate that was trying to kill him. He's confused until the remaining pirates point off to the side, warning each other that a mage has suddenly appeared. Up above is this mage, with blonde hair flowing in the wind along with her cape. The pirates attempt to grab her, but she knows that they are not capable of such a thing. Calling them insects, she drops down to the deck and thrusts her wand forwards, using a razor wind attack. The leader of the pirates, with long white hair, watches as many of his men are defeated. He calls them idiots, ordering them to shoot instead of standing around doing nothing. Arrows zoom towards the blonde mage, who dodges, noticing our MC still on the floor groaning in pain. She throws a glass bottle with a red substance in his direction, ordering him to get back to his senses. He stares at the liquid inside, recognizing it as a potion. The blonde mage continues yelling. He should drink it quickly unless he wants to die here. Our MC recognizes this girl's face upon getting a better look. She looks exactly like the mage girl he fought against earlier, when it was a 3 versus 1. While he stands around the pirates close in on their position with weapons, the blonde mage offers protection, though she is quickly getting annoyed with our MC's slow and incompetent actions. If this is really the Dark World game and this is really a wound treating potion, then our MC knows he should drink it. As expected, after downing the bottle, his pain instantly decreases and he feels much better. The mage wonders how long he is going to keep standing around doing nothing. He needs to wake up and prove he was worth wasting a potion on. Though thankful she saved him, our MC can't help to be insulted by her condescending words. He notices that despite her brave face and attitude, she seems to be trembling in fear. He thinks she must be out of mana, which is hard to believe because she's hardly even used 10 spells. The pirates are still approaching, thinking that the fight seems to be over and that all they need to do is kill them. The mage immediately turns to RMC, asking him to do something. He calls her rude, realizing she just saved him so she could use him as a human shield. The two bicker between each other until they are interrupted by one of the pirates taking a swing with their sword. Despite not wanting to, RMC instinctively acts as a human shield to protect the girl, before delivering a swift kick to the pirate's chest to knock him away. He starts to act brave, telling the girl to stand back while he handles things. He'd rather put up a struggle than just die, and he wouldn't feel like much of a man if he didn't help a woman in need. Suddenly, he starts to feel strange, as if the blood inside his body is boiling. A red aura forms around him, similar to that what was on his old account. The pirates look a little baffled, not expecting to see a magic spell like that, though they aren't scared, and one of them comes in swinging his weapon. Much to his surprise, RMC blocks the strike. With a smile on his face, RMC can feel his boiling blood flowing through his whole body, a feeling that makes him happy. After all, he was a blood knight. He reaches forward to grab the pirate, who pleads for someone to save him. No one comes to the poor guy's aid as he is sliced down the center like a piece of toast. The mouths of the remaining pirates hang low in surprise, with the leader ordering someone to deal with RMC and attack. Feeling just as overpowered as he did on his old account, he runs forward and takes out the leader with a single slash. Though happy with a villainous grin, he feels a sharp pain simmering up his body. It's like he is being controlled by the boiling blood inside his body, feeling a sense of superiority and freedom and an unbearable pleasure, like his consciousness is slowly going somewhere far. He yells out a ferocious roar that echoes throughout the ocean, prompting what remains of the pirates to all jump overboard into the ocean, attempting to flee as fast as they can. With them gone, the blonde mage notices RMC panting heavily, falling to his knees as if something is wrong with him all of a sudden. The next thing RMC sees is a clear blue sky and the sails of the same ship. He wraps a bandage around his wounded arm, realizing that he passed out from losing too much blood. At this rate, he might really die here. He barely managed to survive and still can't believe this ridiculous situation. He's definitely inside the dark world game, considering the ship, the pirates, the pain he felt, and the girl who looks exactly the same as a player he saw earlier. He turns to this mage, asking her to help tie his bandage, as it is too hard for him to die with just one hand. She declines, as she doesn't want to touch something that dirty. This annoys RMC until his foot touches something laying next to him, which he quickly realizes is his bag, which he had forgotten all about. Inside is a potion, which he throws back to heal the rest of his wounds. However, the mage quickly scurries over on all fours, digging through the rest of the things inside his bag. She pulls out the rest of the potions inside and he demands that she gives them back, but she doesn't want to, stating that he owes her since she gave him one of her potions earlier. She saved his life when he was in danger, so she's taking two as payment. However, RMC doesn't agree. He's hurt right now and needs those potions. He'll bring her more later, but he wants these ones. Getting extra aggressive, he starts to speak in a threatening manner, until he hears a voice calling out nearby. It's one of the sailors who can see land. They have arrived at the south harbor of Port City. RMC immediately gets distracted hearing this and looks out into the distance, seeing South Harbor, the location where Dark World's second act takes place. With the ship getting closer, we see more boats at the port with large stone walls. Once the ship has docked, the passengers disembark in an orderly fashion. RMC takes a look around, wondering if he will be able to survive. To think he came to this stage as a noob character. He overhears to people gossiping nearby. The lockdown order has fallen upon the port. Beyond the ship, bandits are lurking, and the sea is full of pirates. As expected, this is just like the scenario in the game. South Harbor has already been raided by pirates before his arrival. It's evident from the smoke in the air and all the broken city walls that are stained with blood. RMC has some hope of survival, knowing his Blood Knight class is really overpowered. He has a flowing blood skill that has allowed him to recover quickly after only a single potion. He is stopped by guards who notice he came from abroad and is carrying a weapon. They ask if he is a soldier. Before anything more can be said, a bald guy that was on the ship explains to the guards that RMC is a good man, who saved them all from a pirate attack. This bald guy gives the knights some gold, bribing them to let RMC pass. He's extremely grateful that he saved everyone yesterday. Without him, they would have died. RMC should consider that as his reward, and the bald man warns him to travel safely, as this city is extremely chaotic. The bald man walks away with a friendly wave, and RMC knows he's right. He'd best be careful around here. Looking down, he notices that his gear makes him stand out a lot. Off to the side, the mage is being harassed by the same guards that attempted to bother him. She reasons with the knights, explaining she is a mage training at a nearby palace. She has forgotten her card, but she has a letter of recommendation written by her master as proof. She attempts to pull it out, but the knights hit her, demanding that she keeps her hands where they can see them, an action that infuriates the mage, who draws her weapon. This quickly makes the knights feel threatened, and they respond by jabbing her in the leg with their spears. She falls to the floor in pain, crying in disbelief that she was really just stabbed like that. The knights aren't messing around, stomping on her wand and breaking it. How dare a magic user take out their weapon? They kick her ruthlessly, with our MC rushing over trying to get them to stop. She'll die at this rate. He didn't want to get involved with these crazy scumbags, but it's only right since the mage saved him earlier. Our MC lowers his head in front of the knights, apologizing. The mage is a part of his group and is just young and stupid, not knowing the ways of the world. He's sorry for the ruckus she has caused and would like to offer them compensation. He opens his bag, revealing money, which soon changes the knight's attitude. Still acting super friendly, our MC compliments them for working hard and apologizes for wasting their time like this. He asks that they let the two of them go, but the knights are hesitant. They've heard that magic users hold lifelong grudges against people. Trying to calm them down, our MC assures them that no grudges will be held. How can she hold a grudge over her own mistake? There's a bit of back and forth for a while until the guards agree to leave as long as they promise to behave in the future. With them now gone, the mage is helped to her feet. She's crying, thinking to herself about the revenge she is going to get on those rascals in the future. Our MC sits her down, offering to use one of the potions in her bag to fix her wounds, even though they were his potions to begin with. The mage rambles manically about killing the knights violently by cutting off all their fingers and toes. Our MC puts a stop to her psychotic rambling by giving her a smack on the head. She should stop acting like an idiot. She insists that she isn't an idiot, she is just talking about her natural rights, her right to get revenge on those who have wronged her. Our MC understands, but he doesn't want to hear any of it. She can think about that stuff when she is alone under her blanket at night. He hands her a potion, which she snatches aggressively, pouring it over the wound. It's more effective to pour it than drink it. Such a thing is common knowledge. Our MC can tell she is trying to insult him, since he drank his potion earlier instead of pouring it. The mage is hurt, so he decides to let it slide. Plus, he notices that she strangely resembles his niece Ji-won. The mage continues to be insulting towards him though, so he decides to threaten her. He could easily steal all her items right now and hand her back over to the knights. He could tell them that she is an escapee without a mage card, who keeps talking about how she is going to get revenge. He was under a magic spell earlier, and the two of them are not actually in a group. He could easily do this if she wants to keep running her mouth. Suddenly, the mage drops the empty potion bottle on the floor, smashing it. She points at him, asking how he could have known that. Our MC is confused by this reaction until he realizes what is going on. This blonde mage really is a secret escapee. She must have been expelled from the mage palace nearby. He was just making up a random lie and he had no idea that it's true. The mage appears nervous and sweaty, scared that our MC has somehow figured out her secret that she is an escapee on the run. Once again, she asked him how he knew that while trembling. He tells her he was just giving an example. He wants her to know that if she keeps acting bratty, he can easily cut her loose and get rid of her. She should be careful with her words and actions in the future. She snatches her bag back out of his hands, which only makes her injured leg sting more. There's another potion bottle in the bag, so our MC asks her to hand it over. She gives it to him, and he removes the cap, reminding her that this is his potion bottle. So technically, by letting her use it, he is saving her life and will be expecting to be paid back later. Though she feels tricked, she allows our MC to pour the potion on her leg to fully heal her wound. She reveals that her name is Ellen, and she wonders what our MC calls himself. He thinks about what he should say, not feeling comfortable being called by his username. You cheater piece of doo-doo. He could say his name is Blood Knight, thought that's probably a little basic. Phoenix of Zakahar is another name that pops into his head. However, in the end, he just tells Ellen that she can call him uncle. They go to an inn and get some food. Here our MC calls Ellen a leftover human, which only makes her angry again. He explains what he means. Her teacher gave her a wand which was just crushed by the knights. Without this wand, she isn't able to use much magic at all. A mage without a wand is useless. Sure, they have a lot of knowledge about the very foundation of matter in the world, but a mage without a wand is like a chef who can't cook, a singer who can't sing, or a doctor who can't treat others. In other words, she's useless, a defective product, or a leftover human. Leftover human just sounds the most polite out of the three options. Looking at her, our MC still notices she seems strangely familiar, and not just because she resembles his niece. He remembers that 6 months ago he created a mage character with the username IJKLMage. On his Blood Knight character he got a rare one-drop known as the Westerly Wind Baton, so he made a mage character to use it. He quickly thinks that maybe Ellen is the mage character that he created, and the one that was broken by the knight was the Westerly Wind Baton. Waking up inside the game is one thing, but seeing a character he created sitting in front of him is definitely shocking. He questions why Ellen has come to South Harbor, and she vaguely says that there is something she needs to do here. Our MC wants to know more details, but she doesn't want to say. Aside from him giving her a few potions, she doesn't feel like she has any reason to trust him. Our MC gets to the point, revealing that he wants to include Ellen in his party and suggesting they have a civil discussion to reach an agreement. He's a skilled warrior with a lot of knowledge of the world. Definitely not a bad ally to have in a party. Ellen comments on how he sounds like a jerk. However, assuming he really is a good ally, she is still a mage without a wand to use her abilities. It's as he said earlier, she is just a leftover human. Why would he want her in his party? Our MC attempts to cheer her up, explaining that she is still growing as a mage and someday things will be different. Though flattered by his optimism, she has studied magic for over 10 years and is now just a fool who can't even make a flame on her own. That may be the case right now, but our MC insists that with a little time she still has the potential to become an outstanding mage. He's sure of it. Such words of encouragement nearly bring Ellen to tears. She reveals why she is here. She's looking for someone. As per her teacher's orders, the last traces of this person were discovered in a city just north of here. That's all she is willing to tell our MC, but he can tell immediately who she is looking for. Her target is probably the one hiding in the Raven Cliffs, a spell thief who goes by the name Psyche. Our MC claims he has come here to look for the origin of his blood, a process that he must go through to master the art of blood control, and he needs a party. After revealing their quests to each other, he can see that she is starting to trust him more. He offers Ellen his hand. As party members, they should try their best to work well together. They remain into the inn until nightfall, where they pay to spend the night. However, it costs a ridiculous amount of money, and the place is disgusting. It stinks and there is no bed. It's more like a horse stable. Ellen pushes past him to get inside, heading straight to sleep on an open patch of ground. She's too tired to care about the conditions. With nowhere else to sleep, our MC strips his armor off and uses his backpack as a pillow. He wants to go back home but has no idea how. Is this the hidden quest that Trickster was talking about? There's no way the hidden quest was to clear the campaign in real life. Trickster must be some sort of god or transcendent being to make such a thing happen. After these thoughts, our MC gets sleepy and closes his eyes to get some rest. With a flash of blue light, he finds himself back as his old self, in an unusual place with a white background and water on the ground. His character sheet from the game appears in front of him, showing all his stats on this new character. A level 11 Blood Knight with stats all lower than 20, and with a few skills like Flowing Blood level 3 and Blood Shield level 2. The scene cuts to the next morning in the game with our MC waking up after a good night's rest. He feels a crazy feeling of refreshment, like his brain was just spun in a washing machine. His body feels so light that it could fly. Maybe this is just a characteristic of being a Blood Knight. He did lose a lot of blood yesterday, so perhaps he has just fully recovered. Ellen wakes up next to him and he immediately starts speaking to her. Something she isn't happy about is she doesn't want to start arguing first thing in the morning. It's not morning though, the sun's high in the sky and the two of them have overslept. The rumbles of Ellen's hungry stomach echo around the room, so our MC suggests they get some food first. While eating a serving of morning porridge, he asks Ellen if anything has changed with her. This is the third time he has asked this morning already, and she insists there is nothing different. Our MC finds this unusual, remembering that in his dream last night he saw the Dark World character sheet with his stats. Not only his own stats but Ellen's too. He also had some point available to upgrade some things. He strengthened his Flowing Blood skill and raised his health by 2. His final stats are now Strength 20, Agility 16, Health 18, and Magic Power 1. As for Ellen, he spent points increasing her Flaming Arrow skill, Burning Weapon, Cold Air Spray, Wind Fist, and Spirit of Dance skills, bringing her Strength to 10, Agility to 13, Health to 15, and Magic Power to 23. How could he have spent all those points on her yet there doesn't seem to be any changes? Was that dream even real? He demands that she tell him if she feels like anything has changed later on, and in a frustrated tone she tells him to just shut up and eat his food. Not long later the wind is blowing and our MC is getting a morning workout in. It feels easy despite him wearing heavy armor, easily doing 120 in a minute. He asked Ellen to work out with him, but she refused and went to meditate instead. He doesn't understand why she would do that, but it's not like he can force her to exercise. After working out, he enters the inn, seeing someone else. It's a woman with red hair and a basket of laundry. Noticing our MC is all sweaty first thing in the morning, he takes a seat, feeling all refreshed and good after a hard workout. The red-haired woman opens the windows, allowing the sunlight to enter and illuminate her sparkling face. With green eyes and an innocent smile, she reveals that her name is Daria. Our MC blushes at the sight of her beauty, but he has some questions he wants to ask her, mostly about the attacks that have been happening in the city recently. The last time the bandits attacked was about a fortnight ago. Right now they are rumored to be hiding in nearby fields. The same can be said about the pirates who have been hiding near the city, plundering those who come and go. This must mean that the bandits and pirates are both on the same side, probably trying to starve the city to death by preventing people exiting and entering. Though there are a lot of reserved goods, so they should be okay for a while. This is exactly the scenario of Chapter 2 that our MC remembers from the game. If he doesn't do anything, then the city will starve to death or collapse thanks to bandit attacks. In other words, if he wants to survive, he needs to do something. Wanting to wash himself, he asks Daria the location of a well he can use. He heads out to it and removes his shirt, splashing a bucket of cold water over his sweaty body. Out of nowhere appears Ellen, who makes him jump in surprise. Since he got so scared, she assumes he must have been having a dirty fantasy about the red-haired barmaid or something. He denies this and the two get back to their usual arguing, with our MC asking why she isn't still meditating. She's too young to be getting lazy and needs to work hard. He becomes intrigued when she mentions that she felt different during meditation today, although it might have just been because this is an unfamiliar environment to her. Our MC turns around wanting to know more, but Ellen becomes startled at the sight of his perfectly chiseled abdominal muscles. She calls him a pervert and runs away, leaving him confused about what's wrong, thinking he must smell or something. Still shirtless, he heads back into the inn with another question for Daria. There are items that he needs and he wants to know if there is a general goods store or a blacksmith nearby where he can get them. There's one next to the post office called Orig's General Goods Store, but Daria warns him that the old man that runs the place is quite eccentric. Sometime later our MC heads over there, remembering the place from the game. Immediately after walking through the door, he is hit by a super strong smell of herbs. An old guy presumably named Orig is standing in the corner. Trying to be polite, our MC explains that he has come here to buy some things. But Orig is less polite, pointing out that our MC is dressed like a soldier. He shows the inside of his cloak, revealing there to be gases and explosion orbs inside. Orig threatens that if any of them try anything, he will blow this whole place up. Now our MC knows what Daria meant when she said this guy was eccentric. Though eccentric is definitely an understatement, this guy is just crazy. We get a flashback to an hour ago, with our MC knocking on a door and entering to speak with Ellen. She still feels uncomfortable after seeing him shirtless earlier. He apologizes, not realizing it was such a big deal. He doesn't know the culture of this place very well. Ellen doesn't think that is a very good excuse. Her kind don't expose their chests to the opposite gender until after marriage. She warns him to be careful from now on, and the two sit down to discuss the next steps they need to take. First of all, our MC wants to see all the money that Ellen has, something she is reluctant to reveal until he reminds her he had to spend most of his money to get the knights to leave her alone. She pours the pathetic amount of money she has available onto the table, an amount that our MC isn't happy with, but he continues explaining the plan. They're going to go down to the sewers and earn money through completing missions. To prepare, they need to get a whole layout of the sewers, and that's what the money is for. But this isn't enough for them to get most of the equipment they need. And Ellen can't even use magic, nor a sword, nor a spear, so she shouldn't have the audacity to talk back to him in any way. After saying all of this, our MC notices that Ellen has started to cry from his words. He apologizes, realizing that he was a little too harsh. He pulls out a shopping list containing everything they need, and Ellen can't believe how much stuff is written down, wondering how he even plans to carry everything. And that's how they ended up in Oleg's General Goods Store, in front of the crazy old man threatening to blow them up. When our MC tells him what they need, the old guy can tell that they are going to the sewers. He suggests a bullseye lantern to brighten up the place, along with 2 refills of lantern oil, a torch made from sulfur, and a map of the second level. The first level has guards, so there is no need for a map for that, and going to the third level would be foolish as there are dangerous monsters down there. Our MC is grateful for the advice and asks if there are potions available here too. While he doesn't have potions, he does have some medicine available. a bunch of antidotes for different kinds of poisons he might find down in the sewers. Noticing Ellen, the old man asks if she is a mage, but Ellen rudely tells him to just mind his own business. In that case, that should be everything. The price is 4 silver coins, which our MC finds extremely expensive. With all the trade routes shut down, original prices have changed. Either they pay or they get out. Our MC thinks about how he could make things cheaper until Ellen tells him to just pay. They have no choice. And if she finds out the old man is ripping them off, she threatens to burn down the entire shop. Our MC can't believe she is make such threats when the old man has an explosion orb under his cloak. She's so confident, arguing with the old man, claiming not to be afraid of him. Our MC realizes it's because the robe she is wearing is powerful, at least a rare rank, or maybe even unique. He remembers from when he created her character. It offers great protection, which is why she is attempting to haggle with this psychopath. In the end, the old man agrees to lower the price to 3 silver coins, since business has been so bad lately. Our MC pays the money and thanks the Oreg for his hospitality. They say their goodbyes, with Oreg offering to buy anything useful they might find in the sewers. He'll give them a good price. They stroll out the store with their new items, and Ellen receives a punch to the head for her actions. Why was she acting so rudely just because of her robe? She explains that it's flame resistant, but our MC doesn't care. It wouldn't have protected her from an explosion orb, and even if it did, he would have still died back there. He doesn't want a situation like that to happen again. There's no reason for the two of them to unnecessarily risk their lives. Ellen understands, and the two of them get ready to continue on their journey, until the emergency bell is rung nearby, echoing through the town. They look around until they spot the danger up in the distance. Pirates are sailing towards the harbor to attack. Grabbing a hold of Ellen's hand and running ahead, our MC thinks it would be best if they went to the tower for safety. On their way, they notice a bunch of soldiers in gear all rushing off to go and fight in battle. They are soon spotted by the constable, who asks the two of them if they are mercenary soldiers. They are speechless until the constable demands an answer from them. Our MC nervously stammers, saying that he is in fact a mercenary soldier. When the constable points to the mage next to him, he quickly covers Ellen's mouth, explaining that she is just his niece. She's too young to use magic and still a student. The constable is in a rush and needs to get going into battle, so he orders our MC to follow. If he disobeys, he will be imprisoned. He should come right this moment. As for his niece, she can make her way to the tower on her own. With the constable making haste, our MC tries to give Ellen instructions on what she should do. But the constable isn't messing around, demanding that he hurry up. He quickly passes Ellen the bag with all their things inside. She needs to protect them. They are not items they can afford to lose. He runs with the constable to the battlefield, leaving Ellen alone to run to safety. Along with many rows of soldiers, our MC marches to the harbor, where he sees the scene laid out before him. The place is full of pirates, and all the soldiers that got here before him have all died. He was trying to stay optimistic about things, but is finding it hard now. The harbor's soldiers are well equipped and trained, and their command system is pretty solid. And including 5 to 6 mages, there are more than 60 people who have come to support. He assumed it was going to be an easy fight like the pirates from a few days ago. However, upon arriving, he sees that the reality is very different from his expectations. These pirates are much more experienced. On top of this, our MC has been ordered to stand on the front row since he has a shield, albeit a tiny one. It's so small that it can only cover his shoulder. The battle gets underway with the pirates shooting arrows towards the soldiers. The soldiers respond by firing arrows back from above with their crossbows. Arrows are flying everywhere, and our MC is worried that he might actually end up dying here. Suddenly, he is hit with an arrow that ricochets off his chest plate and knocks him on his cheeks. Like a guardian angel, a soldier steps in front of him to shield him from any more incoming arrows. He has a mustache, and he asks our MC to watch his back. Our MC confidently stands up and says yes, but in reality he is in complete panic mode right now, upset that he is being forced to be here against his will. They expect him to fight against these pirates that all look like bloodthirsty beasts. Maybe in game he could beat them, but not with his actual life on the line. A female soldier slaps him on the head to ask him something, but she accidentally distracts him from the incoming arrows that almost hit him again. He yells at her for distracting him like that when arrows are flying around. She apologizes, but she is about to charge forward with her colleagues, and she needs him to watch their backs. She charges with a group of other soldiers, leaving our MC standing back, angry with all the chaos unfolding around him. He receives yet another slap to the face from a soldier, calling him a coward for not charging with everyone else. At this point, he has had enough, kicking the scumbag that slapped him in the stomach. The soldiers turn on him for doing this, raising their weapons and asking if he is crazy. One thrusts their spear forwards aggressively, which he knocks away with his tiny shield. He tells them to stop, claiming that the kick was just self-defense, the normal reaction to someone slapping his face out of nowhere. To get them off his back, he tells them that he is going to charge forward now, asking for the soldiers' forgiveness. The soldier that was kicked get back up, ordering our MC to kill 20 pirates. Only then will he be forgiven. Accepting this, our MC charges forward, feeling much better after that punch, like it has given him more confidence. He cuts his own finger to draw blood, activating his Blade of Blood ability. His signature red aura begins to glow, and he tells himself to just take out 20 so he can get this over with. He hacks and slashes through any pirate that stands in his way like nothing, with a sinister smile as if killing is something he deeply enjoys. He makes his way back to the front, meeting up with the mustache man again, who is happy to see him, though our MC is too distracted to notice him. Maybe it's because of the blood on his body, but he feels hot, and a strange thirst is dominating his mind. With the battle taking place around him, he feels a hunger deep inside, a hunger that is only getting more and more intense by the second. 2 pirates appear from behind, jabbing their spears at him, but it doesn't faze him in the slightest, and he simply turns around to chop them down, commenting on how they scared him coming out of nowhere like that. The woman that slapped him earlier pushes past him, accusing him of wasting time and attempting to show off. She gets to work chopping the pirates down, which makes our MC angry because she is stealing his kills. With a big pirate swinging a mighty axe, she orders her group to get into formation. They work together to defeat the big guy. One blocks its powerful axe swing with a giant shield, while another uses his smaller shield to launch the woman into the air, allowing her to get high enough to slash the big guy's neck. Just like that, the pirate is defeated and she stands over his body victorious. Our MC admits that he is impressed by their teamwork and skill, getting distracted for a moment until he is reminded where he is by an incoming enemy. He dodges, kicking this pirate away like a piece of trash. He needs to kill 20 of these pirates to be forgiven, and he isn't going to allow that woman to keep stealing them. He only has 4 currently. He runs at the pirates like a bloodthirsty maniac, making his kill count 5 as the pirates attempt to surround him. He continues to hack and slash, getting a 6th. Unlike that woman, his combat has no technique or experience. He's just attacking in any way that he can in order to reach that kill count. After taking out the pirates in his general area, he yells for more to come at him. However, they are all fleeing like cowards, thinking our MC is a monster that they can't beat. He chases as many down as he can, hacking off more heads than the French, almost single-handedly defending the harbor from the pirate attack. The soldiers are speechless, considering him way too scary and violent to be called a hero. After the pirates have fled, our MC attempts to find the man that he kicked earlier, explaining to a guard that he made a small mistake and as a punishment he was ordered to take out 20 pirates. He empties the heads of 20 enemies onto the ground, completely shocking the guard, who doesn't know what mistake he made. But for defeating this many pirates, he deserves a reward. The guard hands our MC a bag of money and offers to tell the Lord all about what he did today to help. He just needs our MC's name and residence. Our MC explains that his name is Phoenix, and as of now he is staying in the boat Horn Inn nearby. After that battle, the scene cuts sometime into the future where our MC is having an unusual vision. He's back as his old self, sitting at his computer, angry that the game seems to be moving on its own. Plus, he had no idea there was a character as powerful as this in the game. Then he starts to remember. He remembers that this character is actually him. His name is Kim Seung-soo, the vice president of a place known as Wild Grass, the father to someone called Rice Grain, the uncle to his niece Ji-won, and most importantly, he is the Blood Knight. With a loud gasp, our MC wakes up from this vision back in the game. With a throbbing head, he feels as though he just had a crazy dream, but he can't seem to remember anything. It has been about a week since the battle, which was a great success thanks to our MC. In order to get rid of the pirate ship blockade, the Lord ordered a fleet to go to war. This ultimately failed, and the South Harbor's fleet of ships were all taken out, meaning the pirates still have a strong blockade out in the ocean, which has worsened the city's atmosphere. Next to our MC wakes up the mustache man who he met during the battle. His name is Gilius, an alcoholic and a mercenary soldier, and a new friend our MC has made after Gilius defended him with his shield. Our MC is about to leave to start his morning training until Ellen comes bursting through the door. She looks completely exhausted because she has spent most of the week meditating, probably because she feels guilty about not being able to help out during the battle. They are going into the sewers soon, so she promises to get a decent amount of sleep tonight to be ready. She tells our MC not to worry about her and to go and get on with his training. After making friends with Gilius, naturally our MC became close with the rest of the mercenary group that he is a part of. The leader of this mercenary group is Grania, the woman who slapped him out on the battlefield. It has been 5 days since she has been teaching and training our MC, helping to improve his technique to make him a better fighter. And today is the first day he has managed to defeat her, helping Grania to her feet. He jokingly says that he only managed to beat her because she is so great at teaching. Grania is tired and is done with training for today, so our MC says he will just keep practicing on his own. He wants to be ready for the sewers tomorrow. Before leaving, Grania reminds him not to forget about his new shield that he needs to pick up. Golden with an owl head in the center. It's one he specifically requested to be crafted as a reward for defending the harbor. The two say their goodbyes after a good morning sparring together. When our MC takes a break to wash his face, Ellen calls out to him from a window up above. She can't focus on mediating and wants to come with him to the workshop to get his shield. His shield is being crafted in the Lord's workshop, a facility that residents can't even use, let alone a mercenary like our MC. Just like the name suggests, it belongs to the Lord and is where he creates weapons for his soldiers. Despite this, our MC was still able to get a shield made there because of the role he played during the battle at the harbor. Before he heads over there, he waits for Ellen to get ready, wondering why she even wants to tag along with him anyway. She says she might want to buy something, maybe something like a ballista. When our MC asks if she means a crossbow, she gets angry, insisting that she means a ballista. She just feels useless and needs some weapons so she can contribute something during fights. Though she doesn't know how to use many weapons, our MC finds this admirable, offering to lend her some money for this ballista in exchange for something in return, of course. However, she bursts his bubble by saying she doesn't need his money, she has her own. Before leaving, the two of them are stopped by Gilius, who wants to tag along with them too. The trio walk through the village with Gilius letting out a huge yawn. He's got a hangover that just won't go away. He thinks our MC made a mistake with the shield he requested, claiming it will be too difficult to handle if it is made as heavy as he wants it. Our MC is fine with a heavy shield though, preferring something more robust than light. Gilius still finds it stupid. He'd much rather carry multiple spare light shields than a singular heavy one. Although he makes a good point, our MC knows he is going to be fighting monsters instead of humans going forward. He isn't going to bet his life on a light and cheap shield. Gilius turns his attention to Ellen, asking if she has even used a ballista before. But Ellen doesn't answer him, even after our MC nudges her. She doesn't like mercenaries and considers them all petty thieves. She'd rather not speak to one. When our MC points out the fact that he is a mercenary too, she nervously says that he is different. An exception. Although it came out awkwardly, our MC can tell that this is just Ellen trying to be nice. She's just not used to it because she is always so arrogant. They make it to the Lord's workshop and enter through the front door, greeting a blonde man inside. He's an apprentice at the workshop named Ilton and helped make the shield. He brings it over and our MC immediately notices how heavy it is. It weighs exactly the same as he does, just as he requested. It was made from a wooden board that had been marinated in cow urine and a small demon for a whole week. The inner side is made of tanned cowhide and the outer side is covered with dragon skin baked in a brazier. It's perfect, and our MC is impressed with the speed at which they were able to craft such a piece of equipment. He offers them a small sum of money for their work and is about to leave until Ellen reminds him that she wants to buy a ballista. Unfortunately, Ilton explains that they are not allowed to sell ballistas due to the kingdom's laws. While it's not an exact substitute, he can sell her a crossbow. He hands her one that was originally designed for the Lord's wife to use while bird hunting. Instead of bolts, it shoots coal or iron rings. It has a slow reloading time but is much easier to learn than an ordinary crossbow. Ellen buys it and heads outside to test it on a nearby tree, landing a perfect shot which makes her jump in joy. Our MC assumed it would just be a toy, but it seems strong enough to do damage to the rat men in the sewers. While she practices, Gilius and our MC have a discussion, with Gilius wondering why he is traveling with that young lady as his comrade when she can't even use magic. He thinks she must be a noble lady. When our MC explains that he has no idea if she is or not, Gilius asks him if he is in a romantic relationship with her. Our MC can't believe he would ask such a thing when she is clearly still a child, but Gilius insists that she seems old enough. Our MC is suddenly irked by Gilius's voice and statements, telling the drunkard to watch his mouth with a serious stare. Gilius is about to talk back, until he sees that our MC isn't messing around. He nervously clears his throat, apologizing and admitting he must have said too much. Ellen appears not long later to drag our MC away. She wants help gathering stones so she can practice more. She wants to get as much practice in as possible before heading down to the sewers. The scene skips to the next morning where it is revealed that they haven't gone down to the sewers as planned. Overnight, Ellen has come down with a sickness and has a bad fever. It makes sense that she would fall into this state. She had her wand broken and was stabbed in the leg. The knights also kicked her pretty badly, not to mention her inner stress of feeling useless not being able to use magic. She's been meditating so much and sleeping so little that something like this was bound to happen. Our MC is taking care of her by placing a cold cloth over her forehead. This situation reminds him of when he caught a cold during his military service. Right after he was promoted to private first class, he got sick with a cold after a rough day. His squad commander took care of him, Sergeant Moon. He stayed by his side and even bought him some vegetable egg stew to eat. Just from this one kind act, he felt indebted to Sergeant Moon and would have given his life to save him. He hopes that by taking care of Ellen she will feel the same way about him, though he recognizes that he is foolish to think such a thing. When Ellen wakes up, he offers to get her some food, which she refuses, wondering why he is going so far to help her. He holds her hand, explaining that even though they met 10 days ago, they are still comrades and should take care of one another. Ellen snatches her hand away, thinking that he is only being nice to her because he thinks she is a noble woman. She explains that she isn't, so he shouldn't waste his time being friendly with her. The person who raised her died because of her actions. She doesn't have a home, money, or a family. She can't even use magic even though she spent 10 years learning. It's like he said before, she's just a leftover human. Our MC is about to say something, but she wants to go to sleep, so he thinks it would be best for him to stay quiet. A woman in nun's clothing enters the room asking about Ellen's condition. This is Sister Olga, a cleric and a member of Grania's mercenary group. She's sorry, but she hasn't been able to get the herbs needed for Ellen's medication because the city has been so crazy recently. Our MC understands and is just grateful for the help Sister Olga has given already. He just has one more request, asking Olga to watch over Ellen for a while because he needs to go to the general goods store. He leaves the room, entrusting Olga to take care of Ellen. While walking down the stairs, he is greeted by the barmaid Daria, who wonders where he is going. Upon hearing he is going to the general goods store for medicine, she asks if she can come with him because she needs to stop by the post office for some food. The city's a dangerous place and she doesn't like to travel outside by herself, not seeing a reason why he shouldn't let her come. Our MC agrees to let Daria tag along. While they walk out the door, a little kid asks Daria where she is going. She replies that she is just going out to get some rations, asking the kid to take care of the bar for a while. She then turns around, giving our MC a playful look which makes him extremely uncomfortable, wondering what he has gotten himself into. The two of them head to the post office for the rations first. 2 big heavy bags which our MC carries over his shoulder like nothing. He doesn't want to see the old man Orig again and so asks Daria to go inside the general goods store for him. He tells her his shopping list and waits patiently outside. He thinks back to the day he saved Ellen from those knights. If he hadn't done that, then things would have been so much easier for him and he wouldn't be in this situation. With everything they need, the RMC and Daria continue walking through the city until they come across a crowd of people chanting for murder. There's a public execution taking place today with people complaining that today's show is just a hanging. Our MC can't believe that they're disappointed about the method used, watching an execution like it's a festival. He's quickly reminded that he is inside the Dark World game, a terrible place where horrible things occur. He starts to feel uneasy and looks off to the side where he spots 3 children sitting. They're trying to sell a few things they have made for money: wooden pieces, flower bracelets, and rings. He considers buying some for Ellen and Daria and asks for the prices. The jewelry is 5 for a penny, and the sculptures are 3 for a penny. Our MC awkwardly laughs at how cheap they are, with one of the children explaining they are worth the price. She's cast charms on them that her mother taught her. The cherry flower ring will help you achieve beautiful love, the pink flower bracelet brings durable force, and the dolphin sculpture helps you become closer with others. Our MC buys all 3 of these for a penny, and even offers the children an extra penny as a tip. His attention is quickly drawn to a nearby commotion between a woman and some thugs. He knows this is the Dark World, but to behave in such a manner in the middle of the street is unbelievable. They are bothering a red-haired girl, smelling her hair and grabbing her wrists. Upon getting close enough, our MC recognizes that it is Daria. He yells at the scumbags and delivers a kick to one of their faces, knocking the guy to the ground and deforming his face into something even more hideous. Our MC lands in a superhero pose, ready to deal with all the others. A swift punch takes care of one. and a knee takes care of another. The rest draw their weapons despite having him outnumbered, which is something our MC finds amusing and pathetic, though he expected nothing less from trash like this. The scumbags realize they screwed up badly when our MC pulls out his own weapon. It's only fair since they pulled theirs out first. In a menacing tone, he warns the men to prepare themselves because he isn't going to hold back. With a slash of his sword, he gives the men an ultimatum. If they don't want to die, they should lay down their arms. All of a sudden, one of the men breaks into a sprint and flees from the scene, leaving the other two behind. One of these with long hair can't believe his disloyal friend. He pleads for our MC not to hurt him. He put down his weapon like he was asked. They made a slight mistake and it won't happen again. Our MC doesn't care, smacking the guy in the stomach with his brand new shield. With that guy dealt with, he turns his head to the other short-haired guy, who is terrified. He said he would let them live if they put their weapons down. Our MC socks this guy in the face. He is going to let them live. He never said he wouldn't beat them up though. He thinks about the one that ran away into hiding like a coward. He would love to chase that guy down and beat him up. However, he doesn't want to leave Daria here all alone by herself. With the big bags of rations in his arms, he prepares to leave, asking Daria if she is okay after all of that. He offers her his hand so he can escort her safely back to the inn. While leaving, the long-haired scumbag that he beat up starts running his mouth. He's going to remember our MC's face, and soon he is going to find and kill him. Our MC is extremely amused by these threats and delivers a kick to the long-haired guy's stomach. Saying stuff like that, he's asking for death right now. But the thug continues running his mouth, claiming that if our MC harms him, then a person called Lord Ubar will get revenge. Our MC is sure he has heard the name Lord Ubar somewhere before. He will have to try and remember later. For now, he bends down and grabs the guy's hair, about to beat him up some more until Daria warns that the guards are about to arrive. As expected of the guards, they never stop any crimes, but they are sure to arrive fast at times like this. The long-haired guy smiles, knowing he is about to be saved, so our MC gives him one last kick to the face as a goodbye present, before grabbing Daria's hand and sprinting off into the distance away from the incoming guards. They run just far enough away to where the guards won't bother to chase them. With Daria panting for air, she notices that our MC has barely even broken a sweat. He's used to exercise like this because of his training. Turning around, he sees Daria looking all sweaty and out of breath. Such a sight causes him to become flustered, and he forces himself to look away, trying to get rid of the dirty thoughts inside his mind. He drops the bags to the floor so they can rest here for a moment. Daria thanks him for his help. Who knows what would have happened if he wasn't there to save her. Our MC is about to apologize for allowing such a thing to happen in the first place. He was distracted. But Daria doesn't accept this apology. Who would have known that something like that would happen in such a short period of time? She feels as though it is her own fault for being in the city square by herself as a young woman, especially when the atmosphere there is so dangerous. He's about to tell her that she is wrong to think that, but then he remembers that he isn't in South Korea anymore. This is the South Harbor in the Dark World game, a place where people cheer while watching a public execution. Using modern, real-world logic here would be foolish. Even still, he holds Daria's hands and tells her she shouldn't blame herself for what happened today, insisting that those scumbags were the ones who were in the wrong and none of it was her fault. Holding hands with our MC like this causes Daria to blush as the two prepare to head back to the inn. Our MC can't believe he just said all of that, thinking that being placed inside this world must have changed his personality. To break the awkward silence, Daria questions where he went earlier, prompting him to pull out a daisy ring. They were selling jewelry like this at the street stalls earlier, and he thought this would look good on her. She finds it cute that he was thinking of her and is grateful for the gift. It fits perfectly. Our MC can't believe he keeps flirting with this girl like this. It's like it just happens instinctively. He can't tell if his heart fluttering is actually him or just his in-game character. Daria brings up Lord Ubar, asking if he will be okay after those gangsters made those threats earlier. Lord Ubar is the gangster ringleader who controls the market. The rumors say that he's a terrible rascal who deals with salt and slaves. With this context, our MC thinks a little harder about where he has heard that name before until he remembers. Kingpin Ubar is one of the fixed named enemies that appear in Chapter 2 during the Dark World campaign. No matter what game mode you play the game in, there are certain enemies that always appear. These entities are called fixed named enemies. Our MC tries to remember the reason he has to fight with Kingpin Ubar, but he realizes he doesn't know. When he completed the campaign, he skipped most of the dialogue because he found it annoying. He tries to shrug the gangster's threats off. It's not like this Ubar guy knows what he looks like anyway. However, Daria reminds him the gangsters saw his face, so they will probably be able to describe his appearance. Still, he acts like he doesn't care in front of Daria, and that he will be fine no matter what. Though inside, if he's being honest, he's super worried. This isn't just a game anymore, it's his reality. What if Kingpin Ubar comes and raids the inn looking for him? He doesn't know what he's going to do. Arriving back, he decides it would be best if he tries to progress in the story before anything serious happens. It would be of great help if he could get to know the Lord or the guard commander for help in the future. While in deep thought, he hears a voice calling out his name, so he turns around, immediately being grabbed by Daria and receiving a kiss on the cheek. She's grateful for all the help he gave her today. After the kiss, she scurries away without saying anything else, with her boots tapping against the cobble floor. She's playing our MC like a fiddle, knowing exactly how to make him blush, though he has to admit that today is by far the best day he's had since coming into this world. Now he just needs to nurse Ellen back to full health. Speaking of Ellen, he hears foul language and a ruckus coming from her room. She screams for someone to put their dirty hand away, referring to them as a bad word. Listening to the shouting, our MC recognizes the other voice as someone familiar. As fast as he can, he sprints up the stairs to the inn, bursting into Ellen's room. The door slams open and it's just as he suspected. The other voice is the drunk Gilius. Our MC takes a quick scan of the room, seeing that Ellen is okay. However, she appears frightened, with sweat dripping down her face. On the side is a half-wet cloth inside a bowl of water. From the information around him, he can get a faint grasp of what has happened here. He storms towards the Gilius with his fists clenched tightly, ordering the old man to get out of here now. Gilius attempts to explain himself, claiming that this is all just a misunderstanding. He was just passing by when Sister Olga told him to. Before he can finish spitting out his pathetic excuse, our MC grabs him by the throat aggressively. With a menacing expression and narrow eyes, he repeats himself, demanding that Gilius get out right now or else. Gilius struggles to get his words out with a tight hand grasping his throat. He asks what he has done wrong. This behavior frightens Ellen even more, who tells our MC to stop. He loosens his grip a little, but still insists that Gilius keep his mouth shut. He's struggling to control his rage right now, so he suggests that Gilius hurry up and leave, or else he might really beat him up. Part 1 ends here. If you're interested in Part 2, show your support by liking the video and commenting Part 2 down below. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss the next upload. Thank you and take care.